My name is Brianna Dunbar, and this is my flipped station rotation blended learning lesson. This is an overview of my lesson, essentially. This is going to be in a 5th grade social studies U.S. history classroom. The main topic is American Revolution, but since that is a huge unit, I decided to split it into 2 units. Which is the Road to Revolution and all the events that led up to it, led up to the actual American Revolution. And I think it's important that students see everything that leads up to the revolution and then the events that follow after. So this is something that's been taught before, and most of the lessons that I've taught kind of follow the same lesson structure. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on a little bit more today, is the lesson structure. So here's the vertical lesson structure. There's usually a hook at the beginning, which usually starts off by me sharing a story related to the lesson. It's a way for me to build background knowledge, students' background knowledge, and help them make connections and get them engaged in the lesson. Then we move to a whole group instruction where we read informational passage about an event or topic. So this might be an excerpt or a chapter from the textbook. And this kind of is I would say the meat maybe of the lesson. This is where we get all the information from. And after we do that, then I have the students get into small groups. It's usually with their tables. Every now and then I'll switch it up, but we'll hold round table discussions and partner turn and talks where they get to talk to each other and verbalize what they've just learned and kind of ask questions, just clear up any information that they might not understand. This is a time for students to kind of share what they've learned, or share parts that they've learned, and kind of check each other up and make sure they're paying attention. After we do that, we'll have some type of activity, whether it's an interactive foldable or it's a foldable page that goes into our interactive notebook. It might be a group activity or maybe a journal entry. And then we'll do some type of research, which usually is a worksheet that has a informational paragraph, and the students have to fill in the blank or complete the sentence, pulling answers from the paragraph, which doesn't take a whole lot of critical thinking skills. Then, if we have time, we will pull literature and read some children's literature. This is a fun thing that students really like to do. They love stories. So if we have time and if we can find books related to the topic, we like to pull those and read those, and that just gets the students engaged. And then we will end the lesson by reviewing in some sort of discussion. The students might enter a journal reflection about what they've learned, what questions they have about the topic. I do the journal reflection, journal entry, because especially with the American Revolution, we discuss a lot and there's a lot going on. And so having students enter into their journal every day the different event that we talked about, then it kind of builds up to this chronological order of events. That way they can understand and watch the American Revolution unfold in their journal. So here's the horizontal lesson. I switched a few things around. So instead of me just telling the story, I might find a video or create a video on my own and have students watch the video at home if possible, but if they can't, we'll They can watch it in class. And this is just a way for students to, if they have watched it, they can watch it again for better understanding. And then also it says a KWL chart. So this is a chart that students make and they share what they already know about it, the topic. And this is this chart continues throughout the whole lesson, so it'll follow them to each station. So it starts off with K, what they already know, L is what they've learned, and then W is what they want to learn about the topic. So it's something that kind of is like a checks and balances and keeps them in order. So that's station 1. That would be the flipped classroom KWL chart. Station 2 is the vocabulary review. I really liked how from all the blended learning videos that we watched, they talked about how students would get into pairs and slip vocabulary words into casual conversation and then check each other to make sure the words were used correctly in the sentences. And I thought that was really neat because it helps students verbalize and make those connections and see others' perspectives of the definitions and words and how they use them into sentences. Just as more exposure, and it's verbal exposure, which is awesome. And then we have station 3, which is diving deeper. So students conduct online or offline research by finding readings and other sources, and then share their findings to a collaborative doc, or to a Google Doc. So I have online and offline because some students do better pulling sources from the internet, maybe having hard physical paper in front of them, highlighting and underlining words or highlighting definitions or just information that they find important, or maybe they want to pull it from an encyclopedia in the library. So this just gives them more options, having it online and offline. And then I like that they share their findings on a collaborative Google Doc, because they're able to put their questions and their findings on the document so that other students can see maybe what they found. They're always learning new information this way. They're asking questions that maybe some students might not think to ask. And it also helps me as the teacher because I will be able to hop on the Google Doc and make sure they're on the right track with their work and their findings. I can ask questions on there. I can see who added what and like what questions or their findings, and it's just a great way to stay interactive with them. Station 4 is to analyze primary sources. So students break down and analyze sources. They ask questions and clarify any misconceptions. At this station, I will provide newspaper articles over the topic or the event, maybe some pictures or photographs or some journal entries. And I really want students just to break it down and analyze it. Why did they say this? How did they feel? Who was involved? Why were they there? Just really, I want students just to see the sources and just to understand how it kind of was back then and to think critically at this station. This is also a good time for me to be involved and to ask them questions about the topic and check for understanding. And then in station 5, this is a good station to check for mastery overall at the end, because this is a reader's theater or debate. So this provides students opportunity to verbally discuss and make connections with their peers. Students can act out skits or take part, take sides in the debate. So having students act out in reader's theater, maybe the Boston Tea Party, or maybe you have the Patriots and you have the British soldiers. They're both on a ship and the Patriots are coming out and they're taking over the ship to dump out all the tea. Well, there's going to be some dialogue there, and students need to, or they can act it out and kind of see what it was like in that situation. This gives students the opportunity to feel like they're actually there and get that personal experience that they might not get, or they might understand maybe more emotions and feelings by having them acted out. And that's the same with debate. Maybe they could act out the Stamp Act and discuss. It could just be two colonists just discussing, and perhaps they get in a debate in the middle of the street and they share their sides. So this is a very flexible thing, but it allows students to think more critical and almost emotional and make those connections that they might not get just reading a text. I think that Station 5 and Station 4 are a great way for teacher instruction. I can ask questions and be involved and kind of check for understanding and help them at this time. I'm excited to teach this lesson, or teach the American Revolution in a horizontal lesson like this. I think it would be more engaging and build students' will and want to learn more about it, because the American Revolution is such a huge topic and it's very intriguing. That's all I've got. Thank you.